Here comes the nasty gram.
Send a priest to save my soul, forget it.
Welcome back to the Nastygram RPG podcast. This is A Tangled Web, Chapter 1, Moonlight.
Feeling it too hard is the poison to the heart of a cynic.
Coals glow red in a metal brazier. A slender, gray-skinned hand, wearing a silver spider ring, pours a bottle of liquid over the coals. We hear a woman's voice. "Pitranox de Carnoth," she whispers, as smoke begins to hiss and pour off the coals. Two small clawed hands reach out of the smoke and grasp the edge of the bowl. From the bowl of smoke, a small, red-skinned creature climbs out. The imp is bone-thin, with dark red, leathery skin, bat-like wings on its back, and black curled horns protruding from its forehead. It speaks in a high-pitched whine. "Your son and our allies in House Vandree are approaching the surface. They are scouting ahead of the main raiding party." We see Matron Houses Duskryn. Her long white hair falls across her shoulders and frames a sharp, thin face. Her skin is the color of cold, gray stone, and her eyes shine a bright red as they reflect the light of the burning coal. Go to them now. Tell them what their true mission on the surface is. Pitrix the imp eyes her with apprehension, trying to decide if his next words are worth speaking. "As you wish, Mother, but I must warn you. You walk on the edge of a knife with this plot. One false step and..." The matron silences the imp with a glare and a raised hand. "Pitrix, my pet, I know the risk they take." Hey everyone, this is Jake, and I'm going to be your dungeon master down under.
This is Josh. I'm playing Zavir Ovras, the wizard and secret cleric.
Hey everyone, Dan here, playing Houses Duskryn, the warlock.
Hey, it's Ryan. I'm going to be playing Houses Vandree, the battlemaster fighter.
Hey, this is Devin. I'm playing Savrakeen Vandree, Acolyte of Lolth.
And Matt here, playing Houses Duskryn, the rogue.
And we better get some nicknames real quick.
Yeah, right?
Because that was a mouthful. No one?
That's what she said. 100%.
All right. We see a cavern, 60 feet long, roughly circular. A crack in the stone runs through the center of the ceiling. From it, pale blue light shines down on a mound of fur, the size of a wagon. The creature's back gently moves up and down with each breath. What we don't see are the 5 dark elves silently and stealthily making their way around the perimeter of the room, surrounding the creature and preparing to strike. Can everyone roll move silently for me?
Dear Lord, that's coming in hot.
And everyone take plus 10, thanks to the blessing of Loth.
Wow.
Hey,
Plus
is that
10?
on top of the advantage for
Correct.
our Powafis and cloaks and boots of Elm?
Correct.
Damn.
Huh.
The DC is 20, and let me know who fails. Or I just need to know how many people fail.
31!
32!
33.
Okay.
Dear Lord.
DC 20?
Yeah.
I got a 21.
Okay.
32.
All right.
Did everyone roll 20s?
As I said, everyone plus 10, and you're probably mostly all proficient. As I said, we don't see the 5 dark elves silently and stealthily making their way around the perimeter of the room. To the drow warriors, the room looks much different. Their eyes are accustomed to the endless night of the Underdark. They see the room in the infrared spectrum. To them, the creature is a mass of red heat, surrounded by cold blue of cold stone. its deep breaths a cloud of orange warmth. Where the surface dweller would see the light shining through the fissure above, they see the dark blue of cold air seeping in. Can you all make a perception check for me?
I'm really paying attention to being sneaky, mostly, because that's a 6.
Well, I just want to know who got the lowest.
That's
Probably
Probably
lowest.
6.
I rolled in that 20.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 22.
20 the hard way for Sav.
23.
Well, Josh, as you and your companions make your way around the room, you don't notice that warm breath coming out. You happen to position yourself right in front of the maw of this creature without being aware of it. Your companions, they might notice this, but they don't take the time to tell you to move. Better to have this beast attack you than one of them.
Typical.
When this fight starts, you're going to be its first target.
Glorious.
As we went over,
As we went over, how
I
bad.
have the most hit points.
One of the warriors makes a series of motions to his companions, a message in the silent hand code of the drow. Prepare to strike. Everyone roll initiative. Since you all passed the stealth check, you're going to get a surprise round.
Not great. That's only a 10 for Jidin.
9 for Savarkeen.
19.
7 for Silavar.
16 for Zavir. Got to keep it to 2 syllables, guys. 2 syllables or less.
So,
Yeah, I'll go for the nickname Psy. That's easy.
Anacarvis, you got the highest, right, Ryan?
Yeah, it's you can call me Vaz.
Vaz?
Yeah.
I like it.
Now I have to write down everyone's nickname.
Yeah.
Vaz, you give the signal, prepare to strike. What do you do?
We're like right next to it.
You have surrounded this thing. You
Okay.
guys are in this cavern. Since we don't have a map and we're kind of doing theater of the mind, what I'm going to do is basically say that there are zones. So you're either on the perimeter of the room, which is out of melee, or you are in the middle of the room, which is in melee. So, you can take a move action to move from one area to another, but, just let me know. To start, you'll all be on the perimeter. But we'll just keep it simple for now.
All right. So if we're on the perimeter, I will.
Yeah, so a quick dash, a quick move would get you there. A 30-foot move would get you there.
Yeah. So I will dash in and kind of just take a leaping slash with my glaive.
We don't actually get a good look at all of these characters yet. What we see, the audience, is shadowy figures darting in and out of the shadows of this room, out of the darkness. There's very little natural light in here, just that pale blue shining down on this sleeping creature from above. So we just see a form kind of dart out of the darkness and a flash of a glaive. And
16 to hit.
I'm really bad with alphabetical order. Give me a second here.
Yikes. That's not something
know.
you say out loud.
I used to get fucked up with the middle part there, the whole between like H and M.
LMNOP.
JKL. Then I remember Jackal
There
when I
you
was
go.
a kid. Jackal.
Jackal.
Oh, yeah.
JKL.
First time I've heard of that.
Yeah.
I just start from whatever I remember.
Nastygram
Love it.
RPG podcast turning into Sesame Street.
Unless you got to do it backwards when you're drunk and there's a state trooper looking at you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I usually start the alphabet
That was
from
it,
when the
yeah.
officer tells me to.
Wow, they let you get that far? I just usually am on the ground before.
Yikes.
You're trying to walk the line, but he didn't ask you to.
I really should have marked this page. Okay.
A, B,
I
C,
suck.
D.
I'm sorry, guys.
Do you want
So-
an index
good.
card, Jake?
You're good.
I found it.
Just
I
tell
got
us
it.
what it is and we can help you find it.
Well, I will tell you guys, because a couple of you have like huge boners for this guy, so I decided to take a look at this book, and I will be using Flea
Ooh.
Mortals.
Okay.
By MCDM.
Ooh.
Oh.
Devin is hard.
For those of you who don't know, it's sort of a it is.
Put that thing
Are
away,
you
Devin.
cutting
God.
because it's not true, or that it is true? Right? It's an appendium, if you will, of monsters that have been kind of updated and revised with kind of added flavor.
Yeah, it's
Don't belittle them. They know.
it's a great monster manual for DMs who are creative.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Ryan. Yeah, I didn't want to write this game. I just wanted to sit down.
Josh was looking right at Dan as he said that.
Ryan, what did you hit?
16.
A 16
Yes.
hits.
Okay, good, because that was going to be embarrassing.
And what did you do for damage?
I did 7 damage.
7 damage. You come in darting quickly and hit this mound of fur, and with your glaive, kind of slice it across the back, and it immediately starts to roar and come up. I believe the next highest initiative was.
Jake, can I use
there are more?
I'm going to use a. I'm going to use
I don't
one
know.
of my.
You're a fighter, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Well, so I'm going to use one of my maneuvers. So I'm going to use a quick toss after I land. I spin and I'm going to throw a hand axe at it.
Oh, sick!
Yeah. So it's gonna hit. Roll a 19, and then it's 6 and 10 more damage.
10 more.
Yep.
You did more with that.
Yeah.
The axe lodged itself in this thing's shoulder, and you see feathers. Josh, I believe you're up with a 16, right?
Yes. You are
Xavier.
adjacent to it now, Ryan.
That is correct.
Voss is it Voss?
Vase, yeah.
Vaz is adjacent to it.
Like a delicate flower holder.
I curse silently, changing the last minute what I plan to do. And then I will speak some arcane words and outstretch and crackling blue energy lances towards this creature. 21?
Hit.
Hit. So this like blue-black lightning crackles towards it, and
Is that a witch bolt?
casting Witch Bolt at 2nd level.
2d12.
That's a big ol' 6 damage.
You could do that with a
6
d6,
damage.
bud.
And his hand stays outstretched. Xavier's eyes, the energy kind of crackles in his eyes as that lightning continues to course.
So because you guys all made your stealth checks and got a surprise round, I'm not going to give it a reaction. Just to let you know. Those at home who are going, how come I didn't use its reaction?
They're already saying that, Jake.
Surprise!
Yes. All right. The witch bolt kind of lights up this cavern a little bit, and you guys get a better look at this creature as it gets to its feet. It is an owl bear, a creature that none of you have ever seen before living in the Underdark. But the lower body of a bear, brown and furred, with the upper limbs still muscular but feathered, ending in huge claws, and the head of an owl.
Dope.
I think the next highest initiative is 10, right, Matt?
Yeah,
All
Jidden.
right. Jidden. Go.
So in the darkness, Jidden is going to move along the edges of the cavern, pulling out his hand crossbow, and from the darkness release a bolt as this thing rears up. That's going to be a 16 to hit.
Yep.
So, with the 2d6 for sneak attack, that's super low. That's 11 damage as this bolt streaks into this thing's neck as it rears back from the 2 strikes previous.
Classic dark elf opening move. The hand crossbow. Devin?
As the creature begins to rise, Savarkeen sees her kin strike. She holds up this scepter in her hand. It looks like a spine of a small humanoid wrapped in spider silk. And she points it, and a little dart shoots out and hits the sleeping creature, and then it explodes into web.
Oh.
So at the beginning of its turn, it needs to make a save, but for now it's
What's
held
the DC,
to the
what's
ground.
the DC on that?
Dexterity 13.
Okay. Is it going to be everyone in the area?
Everyone
Friend or
in the
foe?
area, 20-foot cube.
Okay. Cool. And Dan.
Silavar is watching as his fellow party members make their attacks, and he's kind of whispering these unnatural words, and a sword slowly appears in one hand. as he's a warlock hexblade. And then as he continues to watch the creature and he sees the web being cast, he knows to stay away for a minute. And he's going to whisper some arcane words as well, and he's going to cast Armor of Agathis on himself.
The fun part about this group will be the terms we use to describe the party, because it will never be like friends, companions, fellow adventurers,
Ally, evil of
associates.
convenience.
My evil brother. Yeah, right?
My brother in Lolf.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just a defensive spell. Gives me temporary hit points, and they take damage when they hit me.
All right. I'm going to roll initiative for it now. That's the end of the first round. The
Cool.
surprise.
Supplies!
It rears up on its hind legs, and this thing's back actually touches the ceiling of the cavern. It towers above all of you. It is as big as a wagon. And the target, the person who happens to be right in front of its face when it opens its eyes and rears up, is the one that convenient line of electricity, the witch bolt, is heading back to. And it looks with its giant saucer eyes that reflect the moonlight from above right at Xavier.
Wait, is this the owlbear?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm just describing what it does. Now I'm going to roll its initiative. It got a 10.
Ew, real close, buddy.
Initiative.
Hopefully that web holds.
Ryan,
Yes.
you're right next to it when it rears up.
Stab.
Okay.
Am I engulfed in the web too? Or
You are, but it
Okay,
only.
doesn't
I think
affect
it
me,
only
really?
matters if you move, right?
No, every creature that starts its turn there makes a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
Okay.
DC 13.
DC 13.
13. I do not make the saving throw.
You are restrained by the web.
We are crack team.
You start to fight it, and it grows only tighter around you.
Dear sister.
But yeah, you're restrained. You can still
Yeah.
attack.
Does that
You're
turn
just
you
stuck
on
where you are.
as a dark elf of Loth to be restrained by a spiderweb?
It's good. It's an act of penance.
Hop.
Yeah, you have disadvantage on attack rolls,
Okay.
and attack rolls against you have advantage.
All right. So that'll hit 20, and then I rolled 9 damage.
9 damage. Okay. You hit it with the glaive, and then hold on. I'm going to make a dex check for it. It failed. And as you hit it, it tries to actually leap away from you. It tries to leap towards Xavier, but the web stuck to it and stuck to the ceiling and the walls all around it, holds it in place, and it turns back towards you. You may have just saved the wizard's life.
Wow.
It was trying to use... It has a reaction that allows it to move after it takes damage, but it failed its dexterity save, so it is stuck in the web.
Nice.
And that brings us to Xavier.
I would say flavor-wise, because of what you described, I think I'm probably also in the sphere of the web because I got close to the sucker.
Yeah, you were probably pretty close.
17, though.
You're good.
So Xavier, he kind of curses under his breath in Abyssal, and he carefully tiptoes back away from these tendrils of the web, expanding out as his hand stays out, very Palpatine-ish, continuing to pump this lightning into this creature, and he moves back towards the edge of the cavern. The lightning continues, does 10 more damage.
Cool. And Matt,
Tied with Senor Owlbear.
tied with Owlbear. Jidden, right? So
Yes.
I'm trying to get these names. Jidden, yes.
G.
You can do your
Probably
actions
be a
first.
nickname would be G. Jidden has probably found a nice little outcropping that he can kind of slip into a deeper darkness to get to be unseen from this thing, and he's going to reload his crossbow and let out another bolt. That is going to be a 14 to hit.
That'll hit.
Oh, damn. That is going to be 17 points of
Holy
piercing
shit.
damage.
Big old soft bear.
Yeah.
It's easy to hit. 17 points of damage?
Yeah.
That's a big hit.
Yeah, being held in those webs, he's able to really like pinpoint where these crossbow bolts need to go to kind of start opening up some arteries to start bleeding it out.
Yeah, it's a compliment from anybody else. From a DM, that means, yeah, coming for you, motherfucker.
And then bonus action, I'm going to just slip into the darkness to hide.
Okay. Devin, does it get to reach? How does it have to take an action?
At the beginning of its turn.
Okay.
It can take an action to make a strength check.
It can take it. All right. But it checks at the beginning of turn. I'll say it already checked this turn, so it'll stay where it is. And Ryan, it now turns its attention to you because you're the only one it can reach because it's stuck in this web. But you're using a glaive, which is a reach weapon, right?
That is
so
correct.
I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and assume you stayed about 10 feet away because you could and you're a smart fighter. It does have a 10-foot bite, but you're out of claw range. So we'll say that those winged arms, those winged front arms are kind of stuck in the web, but it still manages to reach that beak out and bite at you. What's your armor class?
19.
Okay, I rolled a 1. Ooh. Do you guys want to do the house rule? Nat 1 is an attack of opportunity. Keep in mind, it's going to go both
affect
ways.
us, right? I mean, I like it. It's kind of swingy.
I like it because I'm a spellcaster.
Let chaos reign.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right,
All
it'll
right.
be the target gets an attack of opportunity, not everyone.
Notice we're
Riposte.
all saying this at level 3.
Ryan, make an attack of opportunity.
So it lunges at me and kind of gets caught in the web.
Yeah, these webs are everywhere. They're actually still growing, like
Someone,
almost spreading out. Ropey.
11, so probably miss.
11 is a miss.
Yep.
And it can't take its other attack because you're out of range. So that makes it name Savrakeen. Devin.
It's still dark in here. There's that
Correct.
light from the witch bolt. Something very large moves from the darkness of the outer room and pounces on the owlbear. It is a giant spider, large-sized creature, about as big as the owlbear.
Dude, what a min-maxer. You web and then turn into something that's immune to web, right?
Devin's better at D&D than we are.
The giant spider has an ability called Web Walker. And
Yep,
it
of
ignores
course.
movement restrictions caused by webbing.
Perfection.
Nice.
He's been playing Pathfinder. It's just like lifting weights for min-maxing.
As soon as she touches that web, while in contact with the web, the spider knows the exact location of any other creatures in contact with the same web, and she sees her brother in there as well. But she moves in on this creature, and those fangs just glisten with poison as she bites down. 16 to hit.
Hit.
I'm going to need a Constitution saving throw from you, please, sir.
Owlbear, hardy folk.
Owlbear are quite hardy. But I actually failed that.
What'd you get?
A 10.
A DC 11. So you only take from the bite, you take 4 points of piercing damage, but you take 10 points of poison damage.
Okay. Why don't you describe that kill to me?
Nice.
So that witch bolt is just crackling off, and we just see it from Zavir's point of view, is from the darkness, this huge black chitinous spider just appears and crawls on top of this owlbear up along its back and sinks its fangs into this creature's neck, and it's that maw, just foam starts to appear all around its lips, and it like chokes, falls, dies, and the spider just skitters back into the darkness.
The lightning continues to crackle for a few moments over the form of this still owlbear. Its muscles spasm under it, and then Zavir lowers his hand, and the lightning stops.
Suddenly, the very loud cave with the sound of this owlbear roaring and howling becomes silent again. You all sort of step out of the darkness and towards this massive creature that is now dead in the center of the room, this blue pale light coming down from the crack in the ceiling. And as you all kind of step in and approach it, we actually get to see what our party looks like. Who wants to go first?
Guess we'll just go in introduction order since
Go
you
for
looked
it.
at me. So Zavir is a short and slender male drow. The males are traditionally smaller than the females, but he's even small for male, 5'2", about 125 pounds. He has stark white hair, pulled back in a long ponytail. His skin is kind of a mid-tone for drow, almost like a dark graphite gray, but his eyes are a bright silver. He wears a sweeping black cloak trimmed along the bottom with a dark purple. And he kind of brustles his robe as he steps forward and looks towards his priestess.
She's just an acolyte.
Acolyte. Says, "Dear Savarkeen, don't forget your divine gifts. We are not all quite so immune to them if you throw them quite so close at our feet."
One must be careful they do not tread on the web of another spider. Zavir.
Zavrkeen? What does Zavrkeen look like, Devin?
She steps out into the moonlight. She's wiping something from the corners of her mouth. She's tall, 6 foot, slender drow. Again, this black silk garments over her shoulders. There's that piwafwi, that cloak of elven kind, filigreed with silver. Underneath that, there's a plate from an animal, a bullet. A piece of the crest on the top of its head is on her chest. She holds a scepter, which is the spine of a small gnome. And she wears no
Good guy stuff.
Wow. She wears this is standard Acolyte of Lolth stuff.
It was definitely an evil gnome, right?
Yes, he was very bad. It's an heirloom. She didn't even know him. And
That's okay then.
But she wears no shoes. Her feet, her ashen gray feet touch the ground at all times.
Gross.
Cool. And what about Severkeen's brother?
He uses his, as he kind of takes out a dagger and just extricates himself from the web, as he's probably had to do many times before. He's about the same height as Zavir, but much broader, like unusually kind of stocky for a drow. He wears a in chainmail, but it's kind of painted or metallicized to be not reflect much light, so it's kind of a dark grayish, like charcoal, almost kind of matching his skin tone, and a kind of slightly worn cloak as well over it. It's like it's gotten some use as he just cuts his way out of the web.
All right. Dan, how about
Silavar?
Silavar?
Silavar walks across the cavern. He was on the periphery the whole time. And as he's walking into that moonlight, his blade disappears and he kind of crouches at the edge of the web looking at the creature. And he says, "Does anyone know what it is?" And as he crouches down, you see him in the moonlight. He is not a drow. He is some sort of mixed breed. He is partially drow. His skin is the color of like a pewter, almost like a metallic silver or gray, but dull at the same time. And he is wearing black clothes with a black kind of filigreed breastplate as well, with his house symbol on it. And his eyes are kind of like a muddy topaz with black irises. But the whites area is that kind of muddied goldish color. And he has jet black hair, unlike most drow with the white hair. And he has 2 black horns that rise out of his forehead. Think something less aggressive as Loki's horns, but kind of those narrow tapered ones that rise up. And he leaves the kind of question hanging in the air.
And last but not least, Matt Jidden.
From the darkness, a few feet over from where some of you saw that last crossbow bolt streak out during the fight, you see this. I was going to say small, but he's probably average height in this party. He's 5'4", but he as he steps out, he pulls off this mask that has this sort of granite colored sheen to it, sort of this molten speckled obsidian in light grays and darks. He pulls it down and pulls back a hood to reveal dark black hair with this shock of white streak in it, this dark gray skin that almost looks like dried pumice stone, and these dark green eyes. And as he steps from the darkness, I think they call it an owl bear.
So I'm just going to make a decision here, since so Matt and Dan, you guys are brothers, right?
Yeah.
So since you both described your characters as having dark hair, which is pretty weird, most drow have white hair. I'm going to say it's a weird family trait.
I like it. I like it a lot.
You can identify most Duskryn members by their dark hair.
Cool.
So the five of you are standing around this beast. You are the forward scouting party for a raid on the surface. You're a few hours ahead of the other 21 students of the academy, all of you, who have been sent on this raid of the surface. And you're looking at this creature that is clearly not something that is normal in the Underdark.
We must be close to the surface then. Yes. He looks towards Savarkeen.
Savarkeen's looking up to the source of that moonlight.
As you're all standing underneath this crack in the ceiling, your eyes start to adjust. They start to switch from infravision to normal vision. It stings a bit. For most of you, this is something that happens almost never. A little more common for Xavier, who is a wizard and is used to studying by candlelight. Xavier, your eyes adjust faster. You see this pale blue moonlight coming down on the priestess's face. You see her eyes, that red glint, kind of slowly fading and turning blue as the light changes. And above her, you see tree branches, strange gnarled shapes with moonlight behind them. And as your eyes all adjust, they start to sting from this moonlight. But you look up and you can see it coming through the branches of the trees.
Do you feel that, Savarkeen? The rest of you? That burn? That is the foul gaze of Saloon, looking down from her haughty heights. The cursed moon god. It feels foul on our skin.
As if in response, you feel and hear the howling wind as this cold wind blows in from the surface. In the Underdark, the temperature stays pretty standard. It doesn't alter much. It's not exactly warm, but it never gets this cold.
Jake, what are we searching for on the surface?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No, it's a raiding party.
It's a raiding party.
Yep.
So we are
You're going
lead
to
scouts
kill-
to find.
Yeah, what are we murdering on this?
Your job at the moment was to get to this point and then wait. But yeah, your mission is to kill vile, evil surface dwellers.
Excellent. All right.
But at the moment, you have a few hours to kill while you wait for the rest of the raiding party to arrive.
I say we push forward. There is glory to be found.
Jake,
Yes,
that web, it lasts for an hour.
if you want to.
Savarkeen starts climbing the web. Fortune favors the bold, does it not? She starts climbing.
Brother. He glances at you and then grabs hold of the web and starts climbing.
Nice. Okay.
Our instructions were clear, but far be it for me to argue with the representatives of such noble houses as you're all. Fine then, cast us up into the surface. Let us see what we may find.
Zavir, the wizard, is of a lower house. The four of you are part of the top-ranking houses in Menzoberranzan, or easier, if you want an easier name, the city of the Spider Queen.
Or Menzo.
Menzo. Yeah, everyone else is part of two higher-ranked houses, which just means that you have more prestige in the city. Your houses are more powerful. Zavir is part of a lower house.
Some of us have to actually work for our living.
It's kind of weird that he was kind of a last-minute addition to this raiding party. Usually wizards aren't allowed to go to the surface. There are rumors that their magic interacts strangely here. That's right out of Homeland, the Dark Elf trilogy. But he was a last-minute addition. And Devin, I think that Savrakeen knows why. Your mother, matron Talina, she told you that Zavir works for her. So you know that him being added to the scouting party was probably intentional.
House Vandree has particular interest in surface raids and things, bringing back trophies from there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you House Vandree?
I'm House Vandree.
Oh, I got that.
And we're
Talina's Duskryn.
Yeah, Talina is Duskryn. Yeah, sorry, I got the.
But
houses
Vandree
mixed
is
up.
the one that is digs the surface, yeah?
Yes.
Correct. Oh, I got. Okay,
So
I got
what is
everyone's
the
last
matron mother of Vandree?
name. I didn't name her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did. Shera is Vandree. So, I'm sorry, Dan, you're Duskryn, right?
Correct.
Dan
Correct.
and
Yep.
Matt are Duskryn. All right. Yeah, I had everyone's backwards on here.
Matron Sherry?
Shera.
Matron Shera Vandree,
And matron
and Matron
Talina
Talina Duskryn.
Duskryn.
That intro scene was Talina.
What up, Ma?
Yeah, sorry, I had a little name mix up there.
All good?
But yeah, so Josh's character works for House Duskryn secretly. And I think that Matt and Dan, you guys are probably aware of that.
Okay.
And you're also aware that you have an alliance with House Vandree. Knowing all of this, you probably all have guessed that some strings were pulled to make sure that the five of you are the scouting party. It's definitely not a coincidence
Because of our alliance.
that your alliance is all present and
Represented.
only
Yep.
present.
Yep.
2 sets of siblings, too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A lot of favors were called in to put these pieces into play.
Before he climbs too high, kind of maybe at the base of the web, Silavar is going to use prestidigitation to inscribe a small symbol on the stone that says hold, in case any of the advanced party reaches here before we return.
Okay.
Be cautious as you reach the surface. It's commonly accounted that many of those who first gaze upon it feel a sense of vertigo. The deepest chasm you've ever seen holds nothing to the emptiness of the surface world.
You could always turn back.
I was just speaking to those who might have a weaker constitution, dear acolyte.
Those
Silavar is next to you and he whispers, "Does he ever stop talking?"
No, most of Josh's characters don't.
Do you all follow Savrakeen to the surface?
Yeah.
Climb this
Silavar's
web?
right there.
Zavir does, but not on the fucking way.
Sure.
He has to do it the hard way. And he's a weak ass bitch.
As you make your way
Same.
through this crack in the ceiling, you can see claw marks where this creature would climb in and out of this this cave. And taking a better look around the cave, you can see that it was definitely a nest, a well-used nest. There was a lot of bones and straw and stuff like that. This creature has probably made this its nest for a long time.
Jake, none of us have ever been to the surface before, right?
Correct. Yeah. It's pretty rare to go to the surface. But it's not rare for the academy to send raiding parties. That's usually kind of a rite of initiation for students.
Cool.
It's a good opportunity to get in some, to actually bloody your blades. Savarkeen is the first up. You're in this sparsely wooded forest at night. The trees around you are all bare, and your foot immediately crunches into snow, which is a weird. You're not wearing shoes, right?
No.
Yeah, it's cold and it's strange. You've never seen snow. But the ice kind of crunches under your feet. If this was a Tarantino movie, there'd be a close up of that.
As the camera pulls up,
Bare feet.
you see that Savarkeen is now crouched down. That hood of that Puafui is pulled over her head. And before you even get to her head, the light reflecting off of this cloak turns it almost this mix of white and gray and black as she hides among the trees in the snow.
The moonlight is brighter than you thought it would be, and it's reflecting off of that snow, and you can actually see pretty far, even though your eyes, are stinging from the light, and they won't switch back to that infravision. Like it's I imagine it's sort of an automatic reflex.
Yeah.
But it's bright enough out here that you're kind of stuck seeing the world the way surface dwellers do in this well moonlit snowy forest.
Salivar kind of stabs a dagger through the snow into the soil as he pulls himself up over the edge. And as he climbs through the snow, he shields his eyes as he sort of peers around and listens to the wind, trying to, having never been on the surface before, not knowing how hostile it could be. Like who knows, like things could be ready to attack at any moment sort of thing. He kind of carefully scans the horizons for any enemies.
As you all kind of get up there and you're just kind of looking around like in amazement. This is such a weird, like imagine living in a cave your whole life and then coming out into a forest. You hear the hoot of an owl and you see this bird fly by and land on a tree branch. And then you smell something. It smells like sulfur. And that bird is engulfed in a cloud of smoke. And as the smoke fades away, you see an imp sitting in its place on a tree branch.
Pitrix.
It smiles at you, this black, toothy smile. And says, "Hello, brother." You don't know if it calls you that because it's literally your brother, or if it's just something it does to try to annoy you. But it does it. And only to you. It doesn't do it to Jidden.
What do you want?
I come with news from Matron Talina.
Speak your piece, then.
She has sent me to tell you all your true mission.
I glance kind of quickly around.
Savarkeen stands up.
Is it speaking in drow or infernal?
It's drow.
Okay.
Matt, you also know who Pitrix is.
Yep.
It's been around for years, probably your whole life.
Jidden hasn't fully climbed out of the hole. He's kind of like a gopher. He's just got his head poked up, and it's like it is super bright. And he's like, I don't feel safe.
You see Salivar standing on the edge, and he leans down and offers you a hand.
So bright.
You will get used to it.
Fine.
He kind of grabs your forearm and pulls you up.
We haven't much time. The main raiding party closes in quickly. I must tell you why this raiding party truly comes to the surface. It is because House Tuatharl is close to losing the blessing of the Spider Queen. They have angered her, and she threatens to take the power away from their priestesses. Now, you all know that this House Tuatharl is the 9th house. If they were to lose the blessing of the Spider Queen, that is essentially an invitation by your goddess to remove that house from existence. Losing the blessing means that the clerics no longer have her blessing. They no longer can use her magic. And when that happens, lesser houses are quick to jump on that house and destroy it, because then it makes your house move up. Since they are the 9th house, that would be advantageous to both Duskryn and Vandree. Pitrix says, the purpose of this surface raid is so that they may gain the favor of Loth. Fenra Tuintarl, priestess of Loth, leads your raid, yes? She leads it for a reason. She has organized this attack on the surface so that she may bring back sacrifices for the Spider Queen. Matron Talina Duskryn wishes for her to fail in her mission. Should she fail, the house will lose its blessing. And then...
we shall ascend.
But you must be careful. Loth is fickle. Should this raid be a complete failure, you may find yourselves out of favor with the Queen. And so your mother's mission is very clear. Ensure that many go to the Spider Queen tonight. However, the High Priestess Fenra wishes to capture the children and give them to the Spider Queen herself. Do not let her take any tributes. Ensure that she leaves here empty-handed and that these surface children escape. But every man and woman is to be given to Loth tonight. For the glory of our houses, not theirs. Do you understand?
It will be as Mother commands. Silavar looks around the group, kind of making that affirmation with each person. Our houses will benefit. We will rise together. Yes?
So it shall be?
It must not be known that it was us. Though they may lose the blessing, House Tuintal still bears the blessing of Loth. If we are not swift and decisive in our action, it will call the other houses upon us. The scions of Vandree and Duskryn, any of the lesser houses would be glad to see us betrayers. We should be careful.
We will not fail. Not in this.
When you speak from fear, you give room for your own failure. You see, this whole time, Zavir is staring at the moon, and it with a light cast on his face, it almost looks like his face is just contorted in like this hateful gaze as he's just staring up. He finally tears his gaze away and looks back and says, I'm sure one blessed so closely from the Queen as yourself has nothing to fear of taking advantage of such a situation as Duskryn presents.
It is not Duskryn we fear, as I consider you my kin, as much as my own brother. But we are also spilling the blood of other drow tonight. Oh, no, wait. No, I'm sorry.
No.
Because we're going to have to kill people.
Well, people, just not,
Not
Yeah.
people, just service
Service
dwellers.
dwellers, yeah. They don't count.
Pitrix says, as he slowly fades away and becomes invisible, he says, the children escape. The rest of them give to the Spider Queen. Take as many kills for your own houses as you can. Leave nothing for Tuintarl.
We begin in haste then, yes?
Yes.
Agreed.
Do we have time to prepare?
From what you know, you have a few hours before the rest of the raiding party shows up. What do you guys want to do?
Have we studied at the academy together for years or for months, or how well do
It's
we
up
know
to you
each other?
guys?
Okay.
Maybe a couple years, maybe longer. So Dan, you're in a unique kind of hybrid class, being a warlock. Do you think your character is part of the fighter school or the wizard school?
I think he probably ended up in the fighter school.
Okay, so you probably have spent a lot of time with Jidin and Vass.
Okay.
Because the three of you are all in that sort of fighter school, and probably even more time with Jidin, because A, he's your brother, and B, you both also do some magic. So you both also spent some time at Sorcerer, which is the wizard college.
It's probably where we had the overlap with
Zavir.
Yeah, you're both kind of
Saberkeen.
good. You're good like martial fighters, but you also both have these innate kind of magical powers.
Yep. Okay. I think Silavar looks at the moon, looks across the landscape. How do we find these surface dwellers? Does anyone know how we track them, how we hunt them?
The same way we find all our other prey. We find out where they drink, where they eat. We lead right to them.
He nods.
The surface world is soft. There are food and drink everywhere.
Is there anything you do enjoy, Zavir?
Of course, I enjoy opportunities like this. I'm merely pointing out that from what I've read, this is my first trip as it is all of ours. They are unlikely to have the same level of defense and security as us. They live in an easy world. The threats are few, far between.
We need the high ground then, yes? Elevation. It will show us the land before our eyes. Come. He kind of scans the horizon and looks for any high points or hills, and begins sort of trudging through the snow.
Okay.
Jake, can I make any kind of roll? I don't know. I'm assuming I'm hopefully have studied like topography, geography, wherever I thought we were going to go to where I think we might best find.
Do you have
I've got a +2 nature. Doesn't really apply though. Probably all under dark nature.
what is your goal? What are you trying to accomplish?
To find the most likely place to find any kind of settlement or
So I don't think you really studied the surface part. You probably studied the route here, because you guys you're not supposed to be doing what you're doing right now. Your directions were very clear. Like, get to the surface and do not go on the surface. Wait there. So
Jake, do we know how long the...
okay, so assuming that the actual leader of this expedition
correct would be leading this part. And
Do we know how long the raid was supposed to be?
to be quite honest, I thought you guys were going to wait for the rest of the raiding party.
Wow, right off the rip.
So actually, it is. We might be chastised for.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, but that's. Oh, I mean, this is. I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, why didn't I think they would just go ahead? Why did I think they? I was like, oh, I know. I thought they'd want a short rest.
Okay, I didn't think of that. So
No,
Zavir,
it's totally fine though. I'll just throw away this whole scene where you meet the high priestess Fenra and
Zavir will say, "I do not think it is unwise for us to learn the lay of the land here, but Priestess Fenra will have the plan in place. So whatever we do here, I think we should be prepared to meet her so as to assume our role as helpful members of this raid."
Of course. Perhaps another predator drew us out. But Fenra, her mission will not be complete anyways. She will use paltry excuses to blame the competence of others, but she will have failed in her duty.
But she may know exactly where we need to go.
We still have some time. If your legs can keep up with you.
I find it taxing with this burning gaze.
Salivar looked like he was going to argue the point of kind of staying when Xavier brought it up, but when you agreed, Devin, when Savarkeen agreed, he closes his mouth. He doesn't say anything.
But if we are to do as Pitrix, as Pitrix has pointed us towards, perhaps it would be wise to not anger the priestess, to seek her displeasure before we find our opportunity.
We were told to scout ahead, right?
But to remain below.
Well, I mean, if we find the settlement, we can always get back here below.
It would be the failing of a scouting party if some creature, something were to come behind the raiding party as it passed this way. It is responsible of us to take a look further.
If we are to find them, we should plan an escape for these younglings. If they are to be spared, we must make sure we make every effort to see this through. We cannot fail the mother.
Very well. If you seek to lead us on, who am I, a simple sage, but to follow? But bear in mind, as soft and weak as these surface dwellers may be, we are still in their territory. This light feels kind upon their shoulders, as it is as painful as it is to us.
Salivar made his way up to the top of this hill, and you all kind of follow. And as you're walking, you notice, like walking through, mud or soft dirt in the Underdark, this snow leaves very obvious footprints. It doesn't really move much after you stepped in it. And you all think to yourself, the fact that we've come this way will be obvious. But you follow Salivar up to the top of this hill, and you look out over this country, and you see these kind of rolling pastures with little black dots of some sort of herd animal moving through them. And then you see the soft glow of light, firelight coming from this village. And we're going to do something kind of fun here. I think it's going to be fun, because I don't want to write a game. I want you guys to write it for me.
Cool.
Here's what we're going to do. Everyone in a moment is going to roll a D20. If you roll a 1 through 10, it's going to be a bad thing. If you roll an 11 to 20, it's going to be a good thing.
Ooh.
You're each going to tell me one attribute of this village that makes it either harder or easier for your mission.
I like it.
A 20 would be like an amazingly good thing for your mission.
Mm-hmm.
An 11 would be like a slightly good thing. So depending on how extreme you roll, that should kind of help determine. So let's build an encounter together.
I love it.
All right.
Love it.
You can all roll, and then we'll I don't know. We'll start with whoever thinks of something first.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well,
bringing some pain.
Yeah, bringing some pain.
All right.
Bringing some thunder.
So
We got our rolls. Do we want to go around? Well, let's say what our rolls were,
Okay.
and then we can go
Go for
around.
it.
I rolled a 6. Yeah, I get to roll 2. I'm playing.
I think I'm probably the lowest. I hope I got a 3.
3?
Oh, I hope that's the lowest as well.
Yeah, I got a 9, which is still under our threshold.
So it's bad, but
Slightly
not
bad.
as bad.
Yeah.
You
So
guys
we've
are just
got-
bringing us down here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
3
We've got
bad things.
very bad, slightly bad
Well,
so far.
I got a 16. I'm going to
All right,
turn the beat around
that's
here.
pretty good.
14.
That's decent.
A
Ooh.
minus.
19.
And Matt's
There
gonna,
it is.
Matt is going to bestow
Someone
the
had to do it.
blessing upon the party.
She didn't save in it.
Jake, any kind of rules you want to give as far as what this settlement is that we can kind of build around?
So I was sort of imagining that there's something going on tonight here. There's some sort of like festival or something like that. Some reason that like people are kind of out in the streets doing things and gathered in big groups, because it's not going to be like a go house to house and murder everyone thing.
Got it.
So
Shucks.
let's imagine that we see this village. We see the lights of a bonfire in the center. We hear music as they're celebrating some sort of event. And if we could zoom in, we would see a mix of humans and elves and dwarves. This is a very progressive little village.
Wow.
A happy little village.
Well, you gave me a good idea for the really bad thing.
Okay, well, you're the lowest. So what's the really bad thing?
They are here because it is a full moon, and it is a festival of the moon. And from a larger settlement, like a town or city, a significant priest of Saloon
Badass.
is here to bless this small settlement.
Righty-roo. I had a really good idea. Well, I thought I had a good idea for a great thing, but I did not roll that. So I think for a medium bad thing, I'm going to say that it's actually, it has a wall around it, but it's a wooden wall, not a stone wall. So it's something that could be scaled pretty easily, but it is an obstacle.
Is that called a palisade?
Yep.
All right.
It could be earthworks too, but not impossible, but it's certainly an obstacle.
Okay.
All right. I wonder if we're on the same wavelength here. Yeah, because I'm thinking that it's a gathering. Maybe it's a masquerade gathering.
Oh shit! They wear wear costumes and
Yeah,
shit.
so it's costumes. So there's
Nice.
an opportunity to maybe
That's
sneak in.
an excellent 16 because that's like really good, but like that's cool.
I'll say my really good one after everyone's gone.
Devin or Matt, you want to jump in on this?
I have one. It seems like there are the dwarves and elves and humans, but there are also a lot of smaller animals. People like their dogs, they have them on leashes and in collars, and there are very few dogs in the pastures outside of the
Because they brought
town.
them in to celebrate.
I like it.
Ooh. All right, very good. All right.
It's a suicide cult, and they're all going to kill themselves.
So I
After
think
they're going to send the kids out.
I think really
everyone's
good. I
drinking
think
and the kids are asleep.
one of the rules of this festival was everybody had to lock their weapons up in a single building.
You think there's a no way?
No, I was just kidding. I'd say, so if it's a festival celebrating the moon, full moon, I'd say we're probably smart enough to time this to be post midnight. So I'd say that a majority of the more peasantry are probably already drunk and asleep, and people are tired. There aren't as many out on the streets, and people are sort of like dying down. Security is laxed out. It's kind of the end of the party sort of thing.
I like that. This is a great
Yeah.
little game.
That was
roll.
awesome. That was cool.
I was going to say for a really good one would have been, but it would kind of would have turned over Josh's, was that it was an eclipse tonight.
So I'm going to say I rolled a 6. Because this is a celebration of the moon, they have these giant sort of polished discs on the rooftops that shine the light down on this central square. So the central square where like most of the partying and stuff is going on is going to be considered daylight.
Don't like that.
Disadvantage for us folk.
So I'm going to just write daylight in town square.
It's a good episode title.
All right. So we've got this little kind of farming village that is putting on this festival to the moon. There's musicians playing. It's starting to kind of wind down because it's later in the night. A lot of people are drunk or passed out. I'm going to basically give most of the like minor combatants disadvantage because a 19 is pretty huge. So that rule wise, that's what that's going to represent.
Boom.
All of the kind of pets are in there too. Very like druidic, I assume. And it's a big deal because this high priestess of Saloon has made an appearance. She's come in with her menagerie from a neighboring city, and they have the entire square illuminated as people in elaborate costumes dedicated to all of the different gods dance and sing and celebrate.
Just a smattering of paladins. No big deal.
He already said no alignment. We're safe.
Awesome. I love that sort of scene setting for that. That's very cool. That's way cooler than what I would have come up with. I would have been like,
we're
it's a red
taking
wedding.
we're taking all of this in from the hilltop.
Correct.
Okay.
Go.
There are many.
Yes, the younger ones would be asleep now.
The few can hide among the many. Savarkeen picks up a handful of snow, lets it fall through her fingers.
I like that too, Matt. I like that. It is late enough that the children are probably all, like the adults are still out partying and stuff, but the children are all asleep.
Do you see those discs on the roofs?
They shine like the moon.
It's not just an arbitrary item. Those are holy symbols. The same one of that accursed goddess. This is a festival of Saloon.
Is it hallowed ground?
It's possible. This is a simple farming village. But this is quite the occasion. Dark omens for us.
Or bright.
Anyone who have knowledge of religion want to go ahead and roll?
15.
Nat 20, 25.
Jeez.
Damn. Just the two of you guys have religion?
I have religion as well,
Okay.
but I've rolled bad.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Josh, you're spot on. You recognize that symbol of her, of Saloon. And you think you remember hearing something about, they're called moon maidens, and that they either dye their hair or it's magically changed to be silver. So you think you can probably identify priestesses of Saloon by their silver hair.
If you see any in the town, the hair glinting silver unnaturally, those are the gifts of the enemy. She gives her smile to them, and they will be worthy opponents. They should be the first to be struck down. I'll just say this because there's no other good way to say it. Zavir has a little secret that none of the player characters know. I've told the players at the table. He is secretly a worshiper of Shar, who is the sister of Saloon, the god of darkness, loss, revenge, secrets. And he has a small amount of blessings from Shar that he hides because a male drow should not have in Menzo divine gifts, and certainly not to any god but Loth.
Righty
Exposition!
Exposition.
Nice.
All right.
Love it.
Well, what's the plan?
We must extricate the children.
Or slay the adults before they can get to them. Loth must still have her prize.
Fenra will be looking for the kids. She cannot find them. We must balance between claiming the lives for Loth and making sure we follow the matron mother's objective. There, on the far side. He points across the township. There is another gate. If we ferry the children out there, we leave them to fend for themselves.
I may be able to assist in this. I have some tricks of my own. I could use some protection, but I may be able to disguise myself as one of them when the time is right to get the children out.
Perhaps their favorite silver-haired influencer.
Oh, God. T-Swift's coming.
I get what you mean.
Yep.
Zavir looks at you kind of darkly and says, I would never defile myself to that extent, but I will appear as one of them. If perhaps one of my more capable friends. He looks to Voss and Jidden were able to accompany me. We could cut our way in and get them out. Jidden, I know you are a fan of the shadows. Whichever you think.
You expect me to shepherd children?
I expect you to slay and to allow your weaker lower-housed, book-learned companion to use his simple tricks to accomplish our mission to the betterment of your house, Jidden.
Jidden's going to look back at our tracks in the snow.
There are no tracks in the snow.
Ooh.
Ooh. We got a druid, ladies and gentlemen.
You see, when she originally picked up that little handful of snow, it just landed at her feet and around everyone's feet. There was small twinkling little snowflakes that fell, and from then on, we left no trace.
Zavir starts panicking. We lost! There's no way to find our way back!
So as Jidden looks back to point out our footprints in the snow, can you do that for all the children as well? Do you not think Fenra can track a herd of children wandering alone in the snow as their parents are slaughtered behind them?
Even she will have our hands full if the Moon Maidens are there.
And if we defer to other tasks, she will very likely be waylaid, yes?
We must act quickly if she is to not suppose our absence.
With your gifts, my dear acolyte, she may never have to know whether we've even been here. We can await like a good scouting party back where we belong.
Time draws close. He looks back towards where we came.
I've already lost my ability to use my short rest to regain a spell.
Do we get a look? How far away were we when we first looked upon the village?
Maybe a quarter of a mile. Yeah.
I'm assuming that Sav, Devon, is in charge.
He's sort of, yeah. So those of you who don't know the dark elf mythology or whatnot, it is a matriarchal society. So kind of by default, if there is a female in the party, then they would be in charge. Even more so because he is an acolyte of Loth, so she is studying to be a priestess. So definitely being groomed for a position of power.
Even though she's the baritone.
Also, in Dark Elves, the women tend to be bigger than the men. So,
Dr. Mrs.
Yeah,
the
she's very
Monarch.
tall.
Dear sister, a suggestion. If we were to find a place where we could shelter the children, we could make it look as if they had fled the town. Send Fenra after them that way, while they're safely in a hayloft. I don't know. I don't know what a hayloft is.
I don't know, hayers.
a mushroom loft
Somewhere
Right.
else. Yeah.
Mushroom cavern.
A cavern under the town, clearly.
The old mushroom barn.
Zafir, use your tricks. Lure the children out. We'll all go. We'll do it quickly. We'll return and stay close to Fenra. If she goes looking for the children, we stop her.
Your will be done.
So the plan is to get the children now, so that they're out of the way for the actual raid.
So that when Fenra shows up, there are no children in the
I
town.
thought you meant just do it as
I was
like
thinking in the heat of the battle.
Yeah, heat of the battle. No.
It's going to be harder to,
She will recognize our absence.
well, in the midst of battle, we will all be blades and spells slinging. If I'm to do it now, what tricks am I to lure the children away that they will stay away? We need to create an environment for them to want to leave. The simple way is to do what we are here to intend, which is to slaughter the rest of them. Have some faith in my simple gifts. They might not be blessed by Loth, but I've worked hard for them. I will get the children out at the right time. To do it now would be too hard to keep them away.
And the time draws near when Fenra returns.
That sucks, though. You get babysitting duty while everyone else gets to do the fun job.
Yes, but then I slaughter them on my own.
To Shar.
Very well. We should not displease the matron mothers.
So yeah, Josh, I think that's a good point, though. One thing, like Loth is like a bloodthirsty goddess. Like she is fucking evil. Shar is also evil, but Shar isn't like Shar doesn't run around sacrificing people. Like that's not her thing. She's more grown up.
Yeah.
She's more sophisticated.
Yeah.
She's playing the long game,
Right.
which is complete oblivion.
Right.
Magthor?
She's like, no, we're not going to kill the children. We're just going to make them wander through the darkness of the forest until they pray to me for guidance.
Yes. But it's also practical.
Right.
Zavir is not a hero. And like to get the children out without any kind of distraction, without any other threat there,
Yeah.
and then to keep them out, it just seems difficult.
So one thing that probably occurs to Zavir, if he's going to be the one kind of running the herding operation, is knowing which houses actually have children in before the raid begins would be super helpful. Because otherwise you got to go house to house and you don't know where they are, you know? So I don't know if you guys want to try to scout it. Of course, if you get spotted ahead of time, could be really bad.
But you are wise with your own gifts to know that this will be difficult in the chaos of combat. I don't know if we have time, but it would be valuable to know where the children are. Do you think we have time? Is it worth the risk to identify where their younglings are?
Perhaps we use their instincts against them.
Say more.
They would protect their young, no? If they were to be raided, they would send them off, put them where they would be safe from someone like us.
Whatever they put their backs to, that is what they would seek to defend. Wise words, Jidden.
You think like a hunter.
I think like a killer.
All right,
That's what
let's
I do.
try to figure out what kind of defensive structure is in this town and how good of a defensive structure it is. Someone roll a d20 for me.
3. It sucks.
You don't roll anymore.
No, I think 3
That's a
means...
good thing. 3 is a good thing.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
3's good for them.
3's good for them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Sucks
You
for
rolled
us.
low. It's bad for us when
Yeah.
you roll low.
The reason that, even though this is a small town, the reason that the festival is being held here is because this is the site of a very, very old church. It's a large stone building near the center of town, dedicated to saloon. And it's very easily defendable if you were to get inside and get the doors closed. It's sort of out of place in that it's really big for this village. Like maybe this village used to be a lot bigger. Because it's a very, very old building. If you guys have ever read the book Pillars of Earth, remember like they build a fucking cathedral in like a nowhere village.
Yep.
It's kind of that kind of situation.
Is it in good shape or is it?
It's in
Look
good.
like-
It's in good shape, but it's very old.
Okay.
And we're going to say that it would be considered consecrated ground for saloon.
Gross.
I'll have to come up with some sort of layer action on that. But it's pretty clear that if the town is attacked, that is where
Their rally point.
that would be the rally point.
Shall we return, Savarkeen?
We should. What I would like to do is send Zavir while the rest of us go into the city and wait. But we will return. We will meet the party on orders of our matrons.
As you wish.
Silavar begins working his way back through the snow down to where we came out of the chasm.
All right. Let me make sure I got this plan right so far. Who wants to? Devin, you're the party leader. What? Walk me through it.
We're going to wait for the party in Fenra. We're not going to reveal that we saw the village or know anything about it. When we go to the surface, as the fighting begins or is about to begin, we're going to find our way into the little residential parts of the town. And as people inevitably will go to protect their young and wake the others, we're going to follow them, find where they go, and strike them.
Did someone point out the church? Was that something that we realized?
Yeah, I mean, maybe we don't have to go back and do it, but after Jake's description, I think we definitely consider it.
Maybe we know that with that information that the children would probably get brought to the church.
If the people are awake, the people that are awake in the square, they're going to go and rally at the church. Let the raiding party deal with them. We're going to go and make sure that Fenra does not get what she's looking for.
So you're going to let people rally at the church and stop the children from being brought there.
I think that would be the hope or the
Okay.
desire.
The other option, this is more meta than in-game, but like from a meta-wise, to not split the party could be to know that the church is the rally point,
And have a way of getting them out.
and for us to kind of be a dagger to fight towards the church as they're meeting the main defenses, knowing that the children will get brought there.
Or be in the church before the fight even starts
Yes.
with costumes.
This is less tactical than, again, like metagame. Us.
I do like sneaking into the church before they.
Yeah.
That's very drow scout thing to do.
I like it.
It might be an opportunity to find an alternative way out too. There might
Yeah.
be more than one. Okay. We're going to have to rely on Fenra to allow us to continue being the advanced kind of scouting party.
You
but-
might need to convince her.
Yeah. I
That's-
like it.
That's cool. I like how this is turning out. All right. You guys make your way back through the snow, leaving no trail behind you, leaving the joyous, happy music of the village behind as they bust open another keg of moon beer. And you crawl back down that web. The heat has all but left that owl bear's body. And shortly after you return to the cave, from a deeper tunnel in this cave, your raiding party begins to arrive. 21 drow warriors, laden down with packs. It's been several weeks to get here, and yet they enter silently. They start immediately setting up camp. And the last one to enter, flanked by 2 female soldiers in heavier armor, tall, broad-shouldered women. And between them is High Priestess Fenra Tuintarl. She wears black metallic armor with silver gilded spider webs all over it and a long cloak. She has short white hair. And as she enters the cavern, all these drow just setting up camp around her. She looks towards Savrakeen. She makes eye contact with you.
Savrakeen bows her head.
You see her blinking rapidly as her eyes adjust to the light. And she looks at the owl bear. She looks at you. And she says, "Which one of them delivered the killing blow to this beast?" Looking at your scouting party.
Savrakeen steps forward. It was I who delivered the killing blow.
She looks almost... give me a sense motive roll.
Insight.
Insight, sorry. You can all roll if you want.
23, 18 on the
Holy
dice.
18.
23. The lightning was still crackling.
Yes, but you hadn't used your action yet to deliver damage.
23 the highest?
Yeah.
So she looks... 23, you guys notice a hand resting on that whip. High priestesses of Loth carry these snake-headed whips. The heads of the snakes are literally alive, and they use them to dole out punishments. And she had a hand resting on it, and when you say you did, she moves her hand away, and she looks disappointed. And she says, "That creature guarded this cavern for many years. None dared enter it as long as that creature called it its lair. Now there is nothing stopping a wandering surface dweller from finding an entrance to the Underdark. We had poisons to ensure it would stay asleep. Had it been one of the other party members, you'd be getting whipped right now. But
That's
you
what
know
you
that
call a lose-lose situation.
because she respects you more and your station more, She gave you a little bit of a chastising, but
Savarkeen's eyes are downcast. She knows how this goes.
Fucking matriarchy, man.
She says it is as important to know when to strike as it is to know when not.
Yes, High Priestess.
Zavir is over in the corner doing a little ritual, and he's ritual casting Comprehend Languages.
Still impressive that you were able to kill the beast. She walks by. It's even dead. It's as tall as her. And then she looks up at the moonlight. Ugh. The sages told us the moon would be just a sliver. It seems we were misled. This is not good. It'll be bright up there. Come, let us all gaze upon the surface. Know the sting of the moon. And know that it is but a fraction of what will come in a few hours. We must act quickly. We must finish our job and return before the sun rises. Flashback to the throne room of House Duskryn. Pitrix, my pet, I know the risk they take. If they fail, I'll give them to Loth to appease her displeasure. I'll drive the dagger into my son's hearts personally, and in a few short decades they will be replaced. And that's where we'll stop.
The Expendables 4.
She can try.
That's nasty.
Couple little house rules. The number one thing I want to do is I'm going to change inspiration a little bit. So I'm going to give you guys D6s for inspiration when you do cool things or just because I'm nice. And you can use that to add or subtract a D6 from any roll.
Even on like if they crit success?
I mean, it's not going to make a 19 into a natural 20. It'll just make you hit. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, okay. I get you. I get you.
But if you want to add it to an attack roll, if you want to add it to a damage roll, if you want to subtract it from a damage roll, any roll, add or subtract a D6. So I'll pass out these green D6s for that because I could not find any good spider D6s on the internet.
That's ridiculous.
I know, right? I'm still looking. Don't worry.
I swear, I think John's got spider dice.
I've got one other cool house rule that we will get to in game, but that's about it. And the other thing is, we're playing evil characters, but we're not going to use alignment because I kind of don't believe in alignment. I think you're all kind of have your own moral compass. So that's
all
something
fluid.
Yeah, exactly. You're probably all good and evil in different ways. So yeah, that's pretty much it.